So starting from the quick basics, what are these terms? Confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. Okay, and what's their importance into the information security? But quickly, confidentiality refers to protecting the disclosure of the information in an information system. Integrity refers to protecting unauthorized alteration of the data. Availability refers to ensuring that the data is always available whenever it is required. Authenticity is pretty much verification of any user or entity logging into the information system with the help of the username, password, OTPs, all the multi-factor authentication systems and everything. Then the last one is non-repudiation, which basically means that any party in a digital transaction cannot really deny the authenticity of their actions or any communications they do. So it provides basically the proof of origin, integrity, and we can say the receipts which prevents them from falsely denying their actions in the communication system. So coming to the high level understanding of the risk management framework, NIST 837 R2 revision 2. So this is categorized into seven key steps: prepare, categorize, select, implement, assess, authorize, monitor. So this is very important for us to understand the sequence of these steps and the importance of these steps, and what really security needs they cater to. We'll be doing a deep dive into the categorization step of RMF. So as the seven phases, the first phase is the prepare phase. Okay, so it basically addresses um that during the risk assessment or any risk management process, uh, we are basically prepared to conduct the risk assessment. Okay, and we have all the information systems and the dependencies recorded with us that are required to conduct the actual risk assessment. In the categorization phase, basically it defines um, the system and the information either getting stored, transmitted uh, on the basis of the impact level. So in categorization, we will basically categorize any information system under federal or non-federal category, and also under the national security category. Okay, so and for these three basic categories, we have different way of categorizing it. So you can see FIPS 119 199, FIPS 200, CNSSI 1253, and all these systems are used into the categorization phase, and we'll touch them in a bit into the upcoming slides. Then the select phase, basically once the categorization of the system is done, so we need to choose the security controls applicable for them. And over here the baseline controls come into play, and the tailoring of the baseline controls is also very important, so that is also being considered into the select phase. Implementation, once and each of these phase provides the output of the previous phase, acts as the input of the next phase. Okay, so this input output system needs to be one needs to understand this in a very clear way, that the previous phase's output will serve as the input to the to the upcoming phase. Implementation, so the controls which have been selected into the select phase needs to be implemented, and and to be documented. So this is pretty much very straightforward. So once the control gets implemented in the assess phase, the effectiveness of this control needs to be done. So unless we really understand how much effective these controls are in terms of the kind of security protection coverage they offer. So unless we understand that, unless we get an idea of that, the just blind implementation of the controls really does not cater our needs. So it is very important to assess the effectiveness of the controls. Then in the authorization phase, once the controls are assessed, so a risk based decision needs to be made. Okay, so how adequate these controls were, and a security package which consists of the security plans, the assessment results, and the risk assessment report from the assess phase is really submitted to the AO. Okay, and will authorizing official, and we'll discuss this role into the upcoming slides, for their approval, so that they can be put into use. And finally the monitor phase, which um, which tells that all the controls which have been implemented needs to be monitored, and overall system security posture needs to be tracked continuously, so that the security team, as well as the senior management in the enterprise or in the organization is really aware about what is their current security posture of their information systems. So, talking about the CGRC exam, as I discussed earlier, there are 7 domains. The first one is the security and the privacy, governance, risk management, and compliance. The second one is the system scoping. The third one is the selection and approval of the frameworks. Fourth one, implementation of security. Fifth one, assessment. Sixth one is system compliance, and the seventh one is compliance maintenance. So when we plan to appear for this exam, so there is a particular mindset, every certification requires, so this certification is no different. It also requires a particular mindset, and with the help of this mindset, and which is mainly risk focused approach, which helps us to really understand the requirements that are needed to clear the exam, or to really to understand or to decipher the question in the correct way. So these requirements I've tried to list down, that what are these, what are the principles of this mindset. So as I said, the input output of the various phases, or the various steps into the RMF are very important. So mind map needs to be plotted, that how the input of the each phase acts, how the output of the each phase acts as the input of the very next phase. Also, even in general, I believe most of us are from the are aware, that what really happens into the what really happens into the GRC area of the enterprise, governance, risk, and compliance. So whenever we are trying to put the framework into practice, the selection of the controls is very important, and also we also need to ensure that we do have the tendency to select the common controls that can be leveraged to multiple systems at the same time, are selected, rather than selecting the individual personalized controls or the custom controls for each system, because it really is not cost effective, the selecting the individual or the custom controls, and also it takes a lot of time to implement and all. So selection of common controls is very important. uh, we also needs to ensure that we are maximizing the use of the shared or the cloud based systems, so that the systems are uh, have the higher visibility, and the security controls being leveraged to them can be standardized, and the applications wherever they are applicable. Tailoring of the systems as per the tailoring of the controls as per the organizational requirements is very important. So just leveraging the common controls or standard controls really may not help in achieving the business objectives. So it is very important that a contextual approach is adopted, and the tailoring is the right way of doing it. Then try to we should try to use maximum automated controls, instead of manual based approach, because it is again resource effective, cost effective, and also it minimizes the human errors in leveraging or in implementing the security controls to the information systems. So now, we'll be really touching upon the modules of the domain 2 system scoping. In this, we will understand what is the information system, what is meant by information system, how we can determine the categorization, of the information system, as in how we should categorize the information system, and then the security categorization review and approval. And this particular task, or this particular step, is also covered into the authorization phase of RMF. But in this also we'll try to understand like the role of AO and AODR, and how they help in putting the categorization and the system security into practice. Okay, so in this slide we will talk about determining the scope of the information system. So it basically deals in identifying the boundaries of the system, as in the system boundaries. We need to define what all are the system components, and we need to put a perimeter to the information system on the basis of the dependencies, or the channel of communication it has with other internal or external systems. So it is defining the logic physical and the logical boundaries of the system, as well as identifying the interfaces between the systems, between the internal and external systems or networks. And we have to consider all the dependencies with external systems in this. Then in identifying the system components, so this basically involves in identifying the hardware, the software part, and any other components that is a part of the information system. In determining the system categorization, so this is the this is the topic in which we'll be really deep diving into. But this basically at a high level involves the determining the potential impact to the organization and to the individuals with respect to CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the systems, and its components. In then we have determined the security control baseline. So this involves identifying the set of security controls that are required to protect the information system based upon its categorization. So once we categorize the information system, we need to identify the set of minimum security controls that are required to provide the enough security coverage to the systems. And then we have finally identify the authorization boundary. Now this involves uh, defining the boundary within which system operates, including any supporting infrastructure or services that are necessary for the system to function. So once we complete all these steps, we can say that the uh, we have determined the scope of the information system. Okay, and the necessary security controls can be implemented to manage any risks that are associated with the system during its operation and use. So in categorization, basically the purpose of the categorization is to understand the potential impact that a system has with respect to the enterprise on its confidentiality, integrity, and availability. With enterprise, I mean, let us say there is a system A. So if there is a potential breach to a system A, what impact it can cause to other systems within the enterprise. So that so higher the impact, the severe category it needs to be into. uh, the purpose of this step, the categorization step, is to also inform the enterprise risk management processes and tasks, like by determining the adverse impact to the organizational operations and assets and other external entities to which it communicates. Okay, so these are the various tasks. If you have gone through the NIST 837, document, so each of these phases, like prepare, categorize, select, and all these phases are subcategorized into various tasks, and this categorized phase of the RMF has been categorized into three subtasks. One is the system description, then security categorization review and approval, which we have sort of discussed in our previous slide. This particular snapshot is actually taken from the 837. So uh, all the system tasks, we need to understand, like what are the inputs to these tasks, and what is the output of this task, and what purpose it serves or it caters, in our overall risk management framework. So the first, task system description, it basically, the purpose is to document all the characteristics of the system. Okay. In this, system design and requirements documentation is done. A detailed, we can say, HLD and LLD of the information systems is recorded, and its dependencies with the internal and external system has to be understood in this particular system description. Then also authorization boundary, like the boundary within the system operates, needs to be understood. Then the list of the security and the privacy requirements needs to be understood. Also, any physical or other processes that controls the system elements needs to be documented in the system description. So the potential inputs, system designs and requirement documentation, authorization boundary, list of security and privacy requirement, um system elements. So all unique identifiers that are there with respect to a system, all the details needs to be recorded as a part of the system description task. So the expected output from this particular task is a documented system description. We get a complete detailed system description document, and who is responsible of doing this task is the system owner. So in CGRC, the roles and responsibilities of each individual associated with the risk management framework, whether it's a system owner, whether it's a security administrator, a CISO, all these roles and responsibilities needs to be understood, with nitty gritties. And the dependencies they have with one another, needs to be plotted and needs to be recorded. So this is very important, the role of individuals into the system categorization, or during the selection of the security controls, who people are responsible. This is very important, especially from the exam perspective also. So yeah, so we were just discussing, and the unique identifiers for the system description can be system name, the version, the release of the system, manufacturer, OEM details, responsible parties, the system location, the geolocation of the system, then yeah, all these are very important. The next task is the security categorization. So This is the actual categorization of the system, where we categorize the system and the documents on the basis of the impact level it can have on the overall on the other systems and into the and within and external enterprises as well. The potential inputs to this particular tasks is our risk management strategy, as in once we have the risk management strategy and the business objectives recorded, on the basis of that we need to really classify and categorize the system. Okay. uh, Organization risk tolerance, this serves as the potential input, as because more risk tolerance or more risk appetite the organization has, the less severe category the system can receive. Okay. So like if a organization has a high risk appetite, then there will be very few systems which will be very critical for the organization. Okay. Then yeah, the other inputs for doing the categorization also will be the risk assessment results, the past risk assessment and the system assessment results, uh, list of the security and the privacy requirement that are allocated to a system. So if the system was already being used, we need to understand the baseline controls that were allocated to those systems in the past, and what is our future goal with respect to that system. On the basis of that, it will depend that whether the category of the system needs to be changed or not. The BIA, business impact analysis, of the system criticality, information about the missions, business functions, all these business objectives needs to be understood that are associated with the information system. The expected output from the system categorization will be the determination of the each information type and each security objective with respect to the CIA of the system. Security categorization based on the high watermark of information. High watermark, has to do with the FIPS 200. We'll talk it about will in the upcoming slides. But yeah, so once the output will be one like we once we consider all the potential inputs that are required uh, to categorize the system, the we get a particular classified system as the output. Okay. And then we really do have the understanding of the impact levels that are associated with the system, the impact of CIA of the system with respect to other entities within an enterprise. Who is responsible of categorizing the system? The primary responsibility of this is with the system owner. So he is ultimately responsible for categorizing a system. Objective, determine the potential adverse impacts that it can have um, with respect to the operations, assets, individuals, uh, data loss to an information confidentiality, integrity, availability. you know uh, Once we in like over here, once we have the system categorized already, we do get the understanding of the potential impacts on CIA. Then how we can categorize a system. uh, we have first we need to understand the federal and the non-federal systems. Okay. This basically is in the context of US, how the entities in the US are really divided into the federal entities and the non-federal entities. And for federal entities, we altogether have a different way of categorizing the systems, and for non-federal entity, we have a different way. So, and then there are the national security systems, the systems which are either with the national security agencies, or the systems which are somewhere interacting with the channels of the national security systems. So all those systems, we used to like we have to understand the impact levels they can have. And then we have the CNSSI 1253 way of categorizing those systems. So we were discussing about the the FIPS 199 and 200 and CNSSI 1253. So basically, the FIPS 199 refers to the standard for security categorization of federal information systems. Okay, it focuses on establishing uh, the security categorization on the basis of the impact level, that any potential breach could cause to the system's operation and system use. Okay, uh, this is the standard, this is the categorization standards that is applicable for the federal systems. Then similarly, FIPS 200, that is not the categorization standards, but it is it lists the minimum security requirements that needs to be applicable for any federal information systems. Okay, uh, uh, it also focuses on the um security requirements into various areas of, whether it is access control, incident response, the operational security, continuous monitoring, and all these areas. It focuses on listing down the minimum security requirements for each of these areas. And once the system is categorized under FIPS 199, then this standard, FIPS 200, helps in guiding the implementing the security controls or the baseline controls, um, for the categorized systems under FIPS 199. Then CNSSI 1253, basically, it targets the it targets the national security system. Okay, uh, it basically, it involves the systems that are that are responsible for carrying out the intelligence activities or any cryptographic activities related to the national security, which are, under the control of the national security agencies in US. So this is the workflow for the security categorization. Okay, how a security categorization process really kicks in. Like first, we need to identify what are the information types, what are the system types. Then we have to understand the provisional impact level with respect to CIA they can have on the associated systems. Okay. Once we have that understanding in place, then we adjust, or we finalize the information impact levels, and then we assign the security category to those systems. As in, more the impact, higher the security category the system gonna receive on the basis of the FIPS 200 or NIST 853 security control selection. So all federal systems gonna receive the the category on the basis of FIPS, and non-federal systems will receive the security control selection has to be guided from 853 B document of NIST. Try to understand one case study. Okay, so let's say there is a regional hospital information system. Okay, and we have to do the system categorization. Okay, the first one will be the first step is to identify the information systems under the under this regional hospital. The hospital identifies its EHR, electronic health record systems, as the information system to be categorized. Okay. Now, whenever it is with respect to ISC2 or CGRC in particular, whenever there is any question, that has to deal with the health records of the citizens, or the hospital's information system, please consider the HIPAA requirements. Okay, at least at a high level. What are the high level requirements for HIPAA? Okay, and what potential impact the breach could have on the CIA? Okay, so yeah, the HIPAA has to be considered in such case studies or questions. Identify information types within the EHR system. The hospital identifies the various types of information such as the PII, all the health records of the citizens, uh, will be categorized as the PII or PHI in particular, since it is the health record, or this is the hospital's information system we are talking about. Medical history, treatment records, prescription information, insurance, and the billing information. So all these potential information types we need to record, or we need to identify. Select provisional impact levels. Now each type of information, the potential impact that could have using the FIPS 199 standards for the impact categorization: low, moderate, high, based upon the uh, the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability triad. Now for PII, high impact on the confidentiality, there will be moderate impact on integrity, and moderate on availability. Okay, so the integrity will always sorry the confidentiality will always be high for any PII data. Medical history, high on confidentiality and integrity, high on availability. Prescription information, moderate on confidentiality, high on integrity, high on availability. Insurance billing information, moderate on confidentiality and integrity, moderate on availability. Now the potential impact levels has to be reviewed. As in the hospital's security team, they will review the potential impact these systems can have with the associated systems within the organization. And the factors like regulatory requirements for HIPAA has to be considered with respect to the potential impact on data breaches and the likelihood of the threat. Okay, adjust the final information, um, adjust and finalize the information impact levels. Once the review of the impact levels has been done, the potential adjustments are made on the basis of the like over here we will determine that the insurance and the billing information should have the high impact on the confidentiality due to the potential impact for financial frauds. The team decides that all categories should be high on availability due to the critical needs for immediate access to patient information into the emergency situations. Okay, so over here we are adjusting the impact levels if needed. Then assign the system security category. Okay, this is the main step over here. We assign the categories to the EHR systems. uh, the EHR system is categorized based upon the highest impact level across the impact on the information types. Therefore, as a whole, the HR system is categorized high for confidentiality, high for integrity, high for availability. So, if the system has high for any of the factors on confidentiality, integrity, or availability, okay, the if it receives high for one of them, the overall the category for the system will be considered the highest among them, which is the high. Okay, let's say if it is high for confidentiality, moderate for integrity, and low for availability, still the EHR system gonna receive the highest impact level, which is high. Process outputs. Within the categorization, the hospital can now proceed in selecting the appropriate security controls from 853. Okay, for the category of the HR system, it has been assigned to. Okay, so if we have, if the system is of like it has been categorized as on the high impact levels, so similarly, more stringent security controls it gonna receive. Uh, from the security, from the list of the security controls. Now they should be coming from 853 document of NIST. Security categorization. Okay, so in this, the hospital's EHR system is categorized at the high impact levels for CIA. The categorization guides the selection of and the implementation of the security controls and corresponding high baseline in 800 53, ensuring that the security posture is adequate to protect against the potential security threats, vulnerabilities, while meeting the regulatory compliance. So as you know, as I said, so if the system has received the high category, okay, so it gonna receive more stringent security controls from the baseline, which will be guided from 853. So basically, the hospital will integrate these categorization into its overall risk management strategy. Okay. And also will be performing regular reviews and updates whenever necessary to adapt any changes that are there to the threat landscape or in the operational environment. So every time there is a major change that impacts the CIA of a system, the the at so time to time basis, the categories needs the categorization of the system needs to be assessed, and regular reviews has to be conducted. This basically demonstrates the practical application of the categorization process, we can say, that can allow the hospital to systematically assess the potential impact. Okay, basically, uh, once the impact of the impact of the system is understood, on the basis of that only the categorization needs to be done, what we have discussed till now. So similarly, it is happening in this particular scenario as well. All right, so now the final task is the security categorization review and approval. So once the security categorization is done, it is basically reviewed and is sent for approval. Uh, Senior agency official for privacy approves the security categorization for PII. So there is a privacy officer, or whomever the organization has designated this role to approve the systems that are directly responsible for dealing with the PII data. So that particular role in an organization will give and will review the security categorization. AO and AODR reviews the categorization for all other enterprise-wide systems. Okay, not the systems that really do not deal with the PII data. So AO is the authorization official. AODR is the designated representative for the authorization official. Okay, so basically there is a difference between AO and AODR. Like AO is the final authority of approving the security controls, uh, and putting and giving the approval so that they can be put into practice, whereas AODR cannot really give a sign off, official sign off to this, but he acts as a reviewer, as a consulting person. Okay, to AO as well, in giving the approvals for the for the categorization, or ultimately the entire system security package, so that it can be implemented and put into practice. So the final sign of authority is not with AODR, but it is with AO. But rest everything, all the consultations, all the advisory work can be done by AODR, and it can also input to it can also provide the inputs to the AO, so that on the basis of the AODR's input, uh, AO can finally give the sign off to the system security package. Organization wide consistency, ensuring that the organizations align with the or aligns with the organization guidance. Collaboration with the senior risk management to ensure consistency with organization's risk strategy and high value assets requirement. ensures that the categorization is consistent with enterprise risk management strategy. Okay, so basically, the security categorization has definitely has to um, cater the missions business objectives. Okay, and in accordance to that only, and the overall risk management framework uh, that will guide how a security categorization for the system has to be done. Of course, the impact levels needs to be determined, which is ultimately also the part of the overall risk management framework and strategy that the organization put into the place. Approval and guidance into the select phase also, which is the next phase of selecting the security controls. This particular you know task is covered in detail, but over here also, approval is provided. The AO or AODR may provide the supplementary guidance to be applied into the select step. Okay, so once the system is categorized, uh, there can be a consultation done, especially with the AODR over here, that what controls needs to be selected into the select phase. Non-approval leads to the recategorization and resubmission for the approval. So the once the systems are sent for the approval for categorization, and if there are any issues, or if they are really not aligned with the organization's objectives, a non-approval can be received. Then again, from this scratch, the categorization phase needs to be followed. System registration update. System registration is updated with the categorization once it is approved. Okay, so once the categorization is approved, the registration is initiated of the system, and the security category is enforced to a particular information system. So the summary, of this session is like, we'll quickly go through. System security plan (SSP) inputs or initial SSP may be started as a part of the system description. Approved security categorization, information types and impact levels are identified over here. Okay, documented justification and rationale for the decisions on categorization. Okay, so if if there is any deviation, or if there are any exceptions, those are recorded, and those are also sent for the approval for all the systems wherever the exceptions are requested. And finally, the approval for the categorization is initiated with AO and AODR. So, team, this was all, at a high level about the system categorization.